Hi everyone, this is Silent Alice, and what I'm about to do is to show you how you can implement some features which are missing in your Dofus Touch client yourself without the need of involving Ankama, who is most likely not gonna help you with your request. So we all know that some routine tasks require a lot of manual job. Sometimes it's very boring and very slow. So there is a way to automate this by making a script, and this is not botting. We are not gonna do any fighting or farming or any beneficial things that will benefit you. We are just gonna implement some features which are missing in the interface to make life easier. I have a couple of examples to show off. I have a couple of videos that I will show now, and you'll basically see what is it really doing. First video is mage leveling. So you level your mage profession quickly. Let me show. As you have seen, the script is automatically using a lot of runes and is also changing between the rune types. I have agility runes and wisdom runes here, and I take turns. I level agility, then level wisdom, then level agility, and so on. And basically it's infinite until the runes run out. In the meantime, if you have a lot of pods on your character, you can go for a coffee for like 15 minutes and it will just level your profession. That's very comfortable. Next one, I think everyone will relate this situation, is when you need to move a ton of resources to your bank and you have to click each of them, select max quantity, and then select the confirm the checkbox and so on. That's very annoying. You can also easily automate this. Here's an example. Alright, and last but not least is very often you need to buy a lot of items from the market, but you need to buy in ones or in tens. That's actually can be very frustrating and very slow, especially if you're playing on PC with your mouse. With the touch screen is actually easier, but when you're playing on PC and you need to buy like, I don't know, 50 times X1 something because it's like cheaper, or because you don't just need 50 and the price is better, then I'm sure you know what I mean. You can do that as well. Of course, don't read this example as only source of truth, because you can basically use any item. I just used hop in this example because it was something that I needed at that specific moment of time. But you can see it makes the purchase effortless, and it's buying until the price changes or until I stop it. So right now, if the price will go up, it will stop. But the price is not going up at the moment. And I'm gonna stop it manually. But here you can see when the price jumps from 8 to 11, it stops buying. All of these things you can implement yourself. Is not hard at all. It is involving coding, but it's very simple coding. You don't need to be by any means a programming expert to do that. This is done by a software. It's called UoPilot. Don't ask me what it means. Uo. I think it's something like Ultima Online or something like that. It's like a project name, whatever. There is a website, uopilot.uokit.com. You go here and you download the release. Also, what you need to take a note of is the password, because the thing you will download will be in password protected archive. The reason why it's password protected is because the application itself is treated by the Windows Defender as a malicious software, and probably by the antivirus it can be treated as well. So before you unzip your archive after you download it, I strongly recommend to go to your Windows Defender or antivirus settings and add an exception. Otherwise there is a high chance that your firewall, your antivirus, will remove the file. You can still recover it. You go to the same page where your antivirus is and you like undo the action, because typically every antivirus, even Windows Defender, allows that. But yeah, just a fair warning that it may happen. I don't even remember if it happened to me, but I recently installed it on another machine and it happened there. Alright, so once you download, you extract the archive and you don't even need to install anything. You will have the executable right away. This is the thing that you have to launch, but let me just stop for another moment on the website. So unfortunately the program is developed by Russian developers, so the help pages are in Russian, but there is nothing to be worried about for two reasons. First of all, the simplest things I will show right now, and that's gonna be more than enough to write pretty much any simple program to automate any task in Dofus Touch. That's point number one. Point number two, you can always ask me directly in Discord, for example, if you have any question. And point number three, why you should not be worried, is because there is a forum, and in the forum, sorry, tax collector, not today. Yeah. In the forum, you are allowed to ask questions in English. I have seen the people asking, for example here, UoPilot sends data. The guy is wondering, that UoPilot is sending some data over the Ethernet port. But in the end, it does not. It can get data if you open a help inside the client, and it will pull the help page from wiki of the software. So basically, if you have some question, you can ask on the forum in English, and there will be no problem. People will reply to you. But easier, you can just ask me, or watch this video till the end, because I will cover everything. And I will not answer questions typically if it's covered in the video. I will point you to the video. Alright, so imagine you have downloaded the software, you have launched it, and you will get this window. Typically it starts as a very small minimal window like this. It's like at minimum size, so I really recommend you expanding it. And before we move further, there is one additional thing in Windows that I have to mention. And this is located in your settings of your machine, System, Display. Scale and layout has to be set to 100%. Regardless of how big your screen it is, it has to be set to 100%. Because at some certain elements of the script, you do the binding of pixel color to pixel coordinates. And if this is set to something else than 100%, it will not work accurately, and because of that your programs will not work. So it is mandatory to set this to 100% at least while you are running your script. So for example, if you need to level a maging profession, but you don't want to have your PC all the time on 100%, what you do is you set it to 100%, you run the script, then once you're done you just set it back, and that's it. There is no harm in setting and in changing this parameter. So just to mention, a very clear example of when this is set to something incorrect is when you do, let me make an example maybe. When you do a detection of the pixel color, which is one of the features of the app, for example, I will put my mouse over this pixel and I will press Ctrl A. It detects the color of this pixel, which is, this is the color and this is the code of the color. That will not work correctly. And by the way, this is the coordinate of this pixel that you have selected. So at the coordinate of x709, y400, you have this color, this code of the color. That will not be detected correctly if your screen scale and layout is set to something else than 100%. It will detect to some other color, something like around here, and that's impossible to work with, trust me. Okay, so let's move on, yeah? So we have the client. First of all, let's break it down into 3 parts. First part is... right, yeah, there is one thing that I forgot. Most likely when you start the client at the first time is going to be in Russian. I have even uninstalled on purpose the Russian font from my machine, because that's exactly how it's going to look like for you. Yeah, if you don't speak Russian, then every pretty much menu item will look like something unknown. Yeah, like some question marks. That's pretty much the same as looking at the menu items in a language that you don't speak. So that's very easy to fix. You need to use this third menu item, then you will have a language tab and you change it to English, and that's done. You do it once and you forget about that. Alright, so moving on. We have the first part is basically the information part. In the information part, you have the information about the window that the script will be working with. We will talk about it a little bit more later. Right now, I have used Ctrl-A command on top of this Dofus Lindo instance. That means that my script will work only with this window. That's important. Second, we have relative coordinates and absolute coordinates. Difference is relative coordinates are within the window and absolute coordinates are on the whole screen. Do not really bother with this, just we will only use relative coordinates every time. However, due to the fact that we will use coordinates, it's important that you have the same screen, basically the same size of the window all the time. So if you write a script for a window which is not full screen size like this, it will not work for a full screen size window anymore because the coordinates will change. Yeah? So that's important to realize. So I recommend, as a best practice, always write your scripts for full-sized windows and you will never have a problem with this part. Alright, so we have coordinates and we have the color, as we already discussed. These buttons are clickable, you can insert them in the script. So if I click this, you'll see that it inserts the coordinates. If I click this, it inserts the color. That will be useful and we will use that a lot. But we don't need this at the moment. Now, here you have your working area. This is where you write your script. It defines how many lines you have. But that's really not important how many lines you have. Of course, you want to have as less lines as possible to have like the most optimal script. But for such a simple scenarios that we will cover here, that's not really important. Yeah, okay. Armoros is distracting us, so I will minimize the Dofus window so it's not it's not in the background of what I'm showing. Alright, so moving on. Here on the bottom we have the tabs. So each tab represents a separate script. I have pretty much plenty of them, so you can have as many as you want. If you need to create another one, you create it by the plus sign. If you need to delete the one that is currently selected, you click the minus sign. And that's pretty much it. Here you see a green and red button. You can start and stop the script this way, but that's not very comfortable. They're very small to me, and to be honest, I don't use that. But yeah, you can start each individual script by clicking the green button. If you know like what is in your script 3, if you want to start it right away, you can click on the green button, and on the red if you want to stop it. Honestly, I don't use that at all. Now, here we also have execution speed. What it means is that you can have, like, for example, yeah, code in line 1, code in line 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. This is in milliseconds. It defines how much time the software waits between those lines. It's very easy to see in some example. Maybe I'll show you later, because we are not gonna write anything yet, because I want to finish going through the menu. Alright, so basically this is just execution speed between the lines. So how much time it will wait between, like, after executing one line before going to the second one, to the other one. Important to know that this is in milliseconds, so 100 milliseconds is 1/10 of a second. If you want to have 1 second, you put 1000. If you want to have 1/100th of a second, you put 10, and so on. And of course there is a button start script and stop script. Since our script is empty, it's not gonna do anything. So it's started, but there is no code, so obviously there is nothing to execute, so it's just like doing nothing all the time. There is also a pause button, but unfortunately is not very reliable, as from my experience. I don't use it. You may try your luck, but usually what I do, I just stop and start over. Sometimes what you need to do is, when you wrote a script and you see that it's not doing exactly what you want it to do, then you need to do corrections. So then you stop it, you do the corrections in the code, and you start it again and see. It's very important that you cannot do any corrections when the script is started, so you have to stop it first. Okay, that I hope was not very complicated. That was just the basics of the interface, and trust me, the coding here is also nothing complicated at all. So what is a code? Code is something like a set of instructions for your PC, which will be executed one line by another, so line by line basically. So as we discussed, this line is going to be executed first, this line is going to be executed second, this one is going to be third, fourth, fifth, and so on. So the PC will execute this instruction first, then this, then this, then this, and then this, and so on. Those instructions do not make any sense, those are just numbers. I just put them as an example here. Okay, so now it's time to learn actually some coding, First that you need to do before you make any code is make a binding to the window. So let me close the script. Let's just create a brand new one. So you see, after I created a brand new one, there is no binding to the window. Here we are not bound to anything. That's important to fix, because it's not gonna work until we do the binding. Even if you write some code, it's not gonna work anywhere. To do the binding, we already covered this a little bit. You need to select your UoPilot, then you move your mouse on top of the window that you want to bind. You do not click it, but you press Ctrl A. So Ctrl plus A. This is the combination you press, and what will happen is it will automatically bind the window that is right below your mouse pointer, and will record the coordinates of the pixel where your mouse is pointing and the color of this pixel. So let's, for example, try this red substance. Ctrl A. This is the coordinates, this is the color code. If you try some of these oranges, here, this is the coordinates, this is the color code. Easy as that. Okay. And obviously the binding is made. One of the very common mistakes, if you wrote the code and you see that it's not doing anything, it's most likely that your binding is missing. That, like, you have the window open, you start the code and nothing is going on. Yeah, your binding is definitely missing. That's very common after you, for example, reload your PC and you start UoPilot from the beginning, and you start Dofus from the beginning. This Dofus is gonna have a different process ID, so UoPilot is not gonna bind to it automatically, even if it was bound to it in the past, like yesterday, for example. So all you need to do is, if you already have some code written here, you just do the binding with Ctrl A again, so it starts displaying the window name in here. That's very important. As soon as the window name is displayed, for Windows always Chrome Legacy, Windows something, then it's good, you're good to go. Let's go to some coding finally. First command I want to show to you is the most important command in the whole programming, and the funniest part of this A command is actually not doing anything. It's not an instruction at all. And this command is a comment. You put 2 slashes, and after this you can write anything, yeah, some comment. For example, here's my comment. This is not going to be executed. So everything which is after 2 slashes is not going to be executed. But as soon as you start writing complicated codes, yeah, which is gonna like have even 15 lines, it's not that long, you already can start getting lost in this code, especially if Frika stops writing stuff about his ass. Especially if you return to this code after some time. So typically what happens, as you see, I have plenty of stuff, yeah, and here I have a comment, because this script I wrote a long ago, yeah, and I have a comment maging with 2 rune types. If I would not have this comment, I would have no idea what this code is doing, because I don't remember shit about this code. So it's very important to write comments. Sometimes you can have a much more complicated code and more complicated code comment structure. Here is an example. This has nothing to do with Dofus, but this is an example. You see, like this is a long code, and we are not gonna cover any sort of code like that. As just an example that sometimes you can and you want put comments over each, let's say, code section. Yeah, what are you doing here? That's gonna make your life much easier. Trust me, do it. Learn to do it from the very beginning. So this is the comment. As a rule of good attitude, yeah, to the coding, it's very nice to make the first line of the code to be a comment describing what this code is doing. So in our case, for example, this is gonna be a tutorial code for compadre. Yeah. So now every time when I come back to this tab, and if I wonder what's gonna be the code here, I already know what this is for. Yeah. Very nice habit to have. Now going to the commands, which are gonna be an instructions. Command that we're gonna learn the first is the left click. And it's simple as that, left. You put left, you put space, and you have to put the coordinates where you wanna click. So in our case, how to find the coordinates? Yeah, we already know quite well with the Ctrl-A combination. So I want my character to move, for example, here. What I'm gonna do, I will click Ctrl-A on this position, and now I have the coordinates of this position. I don't need to type the coordinates. I just click on this button and I have coordinates put in here automatically. After that, I can execute the code. But there is one thing to note. The code here will execute unlimited amount of times. It will, after it reaches the end, it will start from the beginning. So this code will be clicking left until the end of the world, or until I stop it. So this code is gonna be clicking in this location forever. So in order for it to stop doing this after just one iteration, I will put the command and script. So it will execute just once, and as long as it hits this instruction, yeah, the code will stop and the execution will stop. Let's see it as an example. Let's run it. We click the play button, and as you see, my character is running to that position that I have noted. Now, if I execute the script one more time, it clicks on my location and it opens this menu that you all know, yeah? Yeah. Let's make an example of the script that is infinite. And I will introduce another command. The command is wait. Wait is basically an instruction to wait some certain amount of time. It is also defined in milliseconds. So I will put 1500, so it's 1.5 second. Yeah, 1 second, 500 milliseconds. Then I want my character to move, for example, here, so I put Ctrl-A. Now I know the coordinates, so I put left, this position. Then next line, I want to wait again. I don't want them to... Why I'm putting weights is because if I don't put weights, it's gonna click them right after another, and the character will not have any time to move actually, yeah? So as an example, yeah, if it would not have weights, it would be like this, click, 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 yeah? So it would be a confusing thing for the game. So let's return to our starting position. So next, I want to move here, left, this coordinate, and last but not least, I want to move here. Weight 1500, and then left here. And let's wait in the end as well, because we need to wait. After this instruction, it will start executing this one again, so we need a wait here as well, between those two left clicks. Alright, let's start. We start the software, and you see that what is happening, my character is just running in circles. That's what we coded it to do. Hey, hooray, this is our first intelligent thing. It does absolutely nothing useful, but it is working, and it's showing how the code is executed. You also see by this blue indicator which line is currently being executed in your code, so you can track, especially if something is going wrong, you can see where it is going wrong. And that's fine to make mistakes in the code, yeah, especially when you're not experienced with that, that's alright, so you sometimes will need to adjust stuff. So here this code will execute forever, yeah. Something went wrong there, as you have seen just a moment ago. I think that was related with the fact that I had my mouse moving around. I will stop it because it doesn't make sense to run this forever. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna learn more commands. Next command I want to show is the drag command. Drag command is basically, as it says, it makes a drag, yeah. So it, for example, I can click, I can drag, and I can release, yeah. So this is the drag move. Is click, move, release. When it's useful in Dofus, it is. I wouldn't show it otherwise, because some menu items here, for example, they require you to drag them, yeah, to see something. And in this case, that's going to be actually useful. So how the drag command works, you need to put two coordinates. First is the starting coordinate, second is the ending coordinate. So from where to where. So I want to start here, so I'm putting my mouse here, putting Ctrl A, so I can see the coordinate. I'm putting in the coordinate. This is from where we are dragging. And we want to drag it till here. And I will put, sorry, I need to have my script active. So to use the Ctrl A. So I'm opening the script and I will put Ctrl A. And that's gonna be to where it's gonna drag. So from here to where. And I don't want it to execute indefinitely, so I will put end script command. And let's test it. Yeah, I will put it back. Boom. See, it was that easy, yeah? It dragged the stuff for me. That's not used often, but it's important to know about this command. I don't think you will have much of a use of it, but still, yeah, it's better to know that there is an option. Alright, going very good so far. So we have learned left command, wait command, drag command, and end script command. What is gonna be next is gonna be the variables. Yeah, the variables are the thing that we're gonna learn next. Why are variables important is because you sometimes need to count something, yeah, in game. For example, you want to do something only exactly 30 times, yeah, some action, and then you want to move on. For this you need a variable. To declare a variable in the code, you need to use a set command, and then the variable is denoted by some parameter, some basically text. It can be any text, and it's very important to have a prefix to explain to the program that this is a variable, and this is the $sign prefix. $sign prefix, for example, counter. So we have now a variable with the name counter, and it is the program knows that this is a variable because there is a $sign. What is a variable is basically, in our case, is an integer, and it can be basically any number, yeah? 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 11, 22. Any number, yeah? Let's write some code that will involve a variable. So first of all, yeah, we have declared a variable, but we did not assign it any value. That's also important because the set command is expecting you to put something in the end, yeah? So you set this variable to some value, and in our case, let's set it to 1. So now, after executing this line, our counter will be equal to 1. Yeah? Okay. So now, what we can do is we can, for example, try, let me see, yeah, what we can do that will be like at least intelligent enough in this interface. I have not figured anything out more smarter than, for example, let's move only 3 times, yeah? Yeah, I should have thought of a better example, because right now that makes things a little bit silly. Right. But I still, the thing is, why I want to use this only the commands that we have learned so far. It's very easy to make an example with the more complicated commands. I mean, they're not that much complicated, but the fact is that we have not learned them yet. But I don't want to use the commands that we have not learned yet for the example. That's why it's actually making this tricky. Alright, so that's why I'm gonna use only the left commands that we know. Yeah, so we're gonna move left. Yeah, and after we moved left, yeah, we'll introduce just one. No, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, we have to learn more, because if we use a counter, we have to know also the condition command, which is if, and without this knowledge we cannot really make use of the variable. So we'll come back to it later. It's not complicated, don't think of it as a complicated thing. It's just we do not have a use of it, like a comfortable use of it now. I will just leave it as it is. Yeah, we have still a counter variable of 1. And what we oh yeah, I know what I can show you. A log command. That should be very nice. Yeah, that should be very nice. Finally, I've realized a good use of it. So log command is basically, it will display you a text box with some content. And in our case, the content I wanted to display is the value of this variable. What we will do, we set counter to 1, and we will show the counter value. Then we will set counter to counter plus 1. So it means the counter will be, the new counter will be current value of counter plus 1, and we will display the counter again. And we will repeat this, let's say 3 times. Yeah. So what will happen is our counter is 1, we show 1, then our counter is gonna be 1 plus 1, so it's gonna be 2. Yeah, new counter is gonna be 2. We will show 2. Now, our new counter will be current counter value, which is 2 plus 1 is gonna be 3, and then it's gonna be 3 plus 1 is gonna be 4. That's what the software should do. Let's test. Oh my gosh, it's treating it as a string, not as a number. That's bad. Bad because I don't know why. Let me see an example of how I did that in some code, because that will make things easier. Ah, yeah, that it's clear now to me. The reason why it's not working is because I am stupid. And I'm stupid because the prefix you have to use, and it's very, you see, I'm also learning something, because because it's not possible to know everything, yeah? So it's nice to refer to things. So the prefix for a variable, for an integer variable, should not be a dollar sign, it should be a hash sign. That was totally my mistake, and that's why it's not doing the correct thing. Now it will do. Look. See? Yeah, now it's showing it right. It's adding the numbers. Because previously it was thinking of it as a text. Yeah, it was thinking of it as a text, so it was not adding the values, it was like adding what I'm putting here. So it was adding like a string, yeah? So 1, then 1 plus 1, because we are adding it like this, so it was always treating it as a text, yeah, not as a integer value, not as a number. Now that works fine, yeah, as we can see. That, once again, is just an example. This code is not doing anything useful yet. Okay. Alright, yeah, so glad we have this sorted out. So now we can finally go to something more interesting, to something which is actually gonna do stuff. And I will introduce the condition operator, and the condition operator is if. So this is the first operator that has to actually be terminated. What it means is that we have if and we have and if. So it basically means that we have a start of this condition and we have an end of this condition. So why is this important? Is because you can have just one line, for example, in the code for this condition, or you may have more than one line. So this is the way you define what is inside the code block of this condition. But let's not go too far, because we did not even touch the if operator. And if is a code that is checking something, exactly as it says, yeah? So if something is something, yeah? So for example, if 1 is less than 2, then this condition is true, yeah? And we will execute whatever is here, yeah? So we're gonna wait, for example, 1500, and let's see, let's run it, and you see we are waiting, yeah? So we touch this block. If the condition would not be correct, we would not even see this highlighted. Yeah, this code would not even be highlighted as blue. It would just skip it. Let's just write another condition, which is not gonna be correct anymore. And you see, hello. All right, yeah. So maybe let me make a good example, because you don't see anything, because it just jumps. It was looking weird because it was jumping from to if the condition was not true, so it was going to the end of the script and returning again to if, and it looked like it's just stuck here. So I will add another line in the end. But you see, it just skips whatever is inside because this condition is not correct. Yeah, 1 is not greater than 2, so we are not even looking at this code. This allows us to implement logic in our code, yeah, some logical decisions. Very useful usage of this command is actually not just with the numbers, but with the pixels and the pixel colors. For example, what we can do is we can select this pixel, yeah, it's just a random pixel from this location, and we put it coordinate and we put the color. So now if this pixel is this color, this is what's gonna be checked. We execute this code, and this is actually very useful in Dofus coding. And let's have a look, yeah? You see, so this code is true, yeah? This pixel is this color, so we wait, yeah? We execute this waiting timer. This is important to confirm that we are in this specific location, yeah? Because sometimes you may, for example, move to a different map, yeah, by accident. Maybe your script is doing something you didn't intend it to do and is moving you to a different map. So let's move out of my apartment, because I think every map has this shitty texture, so it's gonna be always true. So now we moved out, so now actually this pixel is not gonna be having this color anymore. Let's see, Yeah, see, it's jumping straight to the end. It's not considering the code in here. It's jumping straight to the end. This means that the condition is not met. So I think you probably already see how that can be useful in our learning. Right, so that's the if operator. We're gonna use it a lot in future. Yeah, we'll write a couple of example codes with you together, but let's learn another one, or maybe two, because they're very similar. Those are for, which has to end with and for. It also has a beginning and an ending, and while, which also has beginning and ending. So and while. Those are the cycle operators. And here is actually where the variables are used the most. So you want to do something for 30 times, for example, yeah? So what we do is we declare a variable here. It's going to be our counter. It's going to be a counter with the name I. We give it our initial value. So it starts at 1. We give it our final value. It starts at 30. It ends at 30. So it starts with 1 and it should go until it reaches 30. And we put a step. Yeah, so how much we should increment this counter after each execution, and we put 1. So we want it to be executed exactly 30 times. So it will start with 1, then it will be incremented by this amount. It's going to be 2, 3, 4, and it's going to be executed until this counter reaches this value, which is in our case 30. Let's put something smaller for learning purpose, so it's not taking that much. And here we put the code which is going to be executed this 10 times. Yeah, we have a code that's going to be executed 10 times, so now we need to write this code. Let me, for example, use my rune of my character. What we're gonna do, we're gonna trigger it 10 times. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna learn the coordinate of this pixel by Ctrl A. So I'm gonna do left, and basically coding is really replicating what you would do yourself, yeah, to do it. So we need to double click, and we also have a little bit of pause between the clicks, yeah, because the interface of the game can be a limiting factor. If you click too fast, it may not recognize it as two clicks. So in our case, I'm gonna introduce a wait of 100 milliseconds, and I will tell it to do the left click again. And while I will remove for now, I will put end script. The reason for that is because if I don't put it here, even after this is done 10 times, yeah, even after this is done 10 times, it's gonna just jump to the beginning, as we know, yeah, because if there is no end script, it's just gonna repeat the same script over and over again. So the idea of this code is gonna trigger my rune 10 times. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, did I count it right? I did not. Right, what happened? That's actually interesting to learn. Yeah, I think that this delay is not enough. That's what I think it is. So I will also highlight something else, because if it's already highlighted, it only expects 1 click, so I will remove the highlighting, and I will try again. Boom. Okay. So so the clicking was actually in fact too slow, yeah, as you can see. I'm learning right now as well, this because I never wrote the code that would do such a silly thing of activating a rune. But if you click too slow, you see that it's actually not enough. So in this case, we were thinking it's too fast, but in fact it's too slow. So that was the problem. So let's remove the delay entirely and see what's happening. Oh yeah, now it works, you see? And it's gonna happen 10 times exactly, and it's gonna stop. And if you count, I mean, yeah, we kind of ruined it because we were testing it, so I will put another iteration and I will try to run it again. Alright, so let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, exactly 10 triggers since our demarcation point of ASDFASTV. Alright, yeah, so you see how it works. Execute it from 1 to 10, so 10 times because the step is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Double click left in the same place. Alright, so you see how many tools we suddenly have available to us. So we already can do a condition check, we can do some repetitive action, and we can click in the places we want. It's very good to learn this part because in Dofus on Lindo you don't have really right clicks, you only can do clicks, so regardless of your click, left or right is gonna be the same thing since it's a touch version. So all you really need to do to interact with the interface is your clicks and sometimes drags, as we have also learned. And that's really enough to do anything in this interface, anything. You can work, you can enter your houses, you can write the code to your houses if you enter with the mult character. So like a lot of things, pretty much endless set of capabilities. Alright. So we know this. Let's also talk about while. Why I like while is sometimes is a nice tool to wait for something. Let me explain. So I want some code. Let me remove this one. I don't want this one to be here anymore. So I want some code while, and sorry, have to be lowercase, I think. Doesn't, because I had E uppercase. I want some code to be executed when I'm only on a street, when I'm outside on this specific location, and I want my character to move here. Whenever I end up on a street, I want my character to move. No, that's not right. Sorry. I'm confusing you as well. So the code is not right. The logic is correct. So let's just put this. I will explain in a moment. So when my character is on this specific location, what I want to do is I want it to move to this coordinate, which we already have put in. So what I will do with while is I will put some check. I will put some check that we are on the street. And funny thing, we're gonna use not the while but while not. While not is exactly the opposite of while. So we're gonna use this pixel as our checking point. So let's see now. Let's explain what this code is doing. So while this pixel is not this color, so because of while not, while this pixel is not this color, we're gonna wait a second, and we can execute this code already. And you see it's gonna be exactly harmless, absolutely harmless, because it is waiting for us to end up on a street. So as soon as my character moves out of the house, in that case this condition will be true. So this can be used as some safety, because sometimes you need to wait for some interface delay, because interface of Dofus can be like lagging for some reason, or maybe just taking time to load something. So this can be used as a safety, so you don't like start executing code which is after that too early. So right now this software is gonna be patiently waiting until I move out of my house, and then in that case it will move me to that specific location. I will also put end of script, so I don't want this to repeat. So end script, and I will start it again, and see, it's still waiting. And now let's move out to the street, and I'm not pressing anything. See, okay, so now our character moved because this condition was met. This while not or is not triggered anymore, so it lets us move on to the next item in the execution. Let me just show it one more time, because I have minimized the window, so maybe it was not that clear. So, my character is running. This is still not met. Boom, we are in the street. While not is not triggered anymore. And we use the left button code, which is right after this while. So this is actually the primary use of while that I personally use it in my codes. I am using it as some sort of safety checks in the code, like when I need to wait for something, yeah. So if for some loading, yeah, and so on. Because especially important because loading times can be dynamic. Because this, when I move between locations, especially you see this egg loading, the egg is filling up, and sometimes you for sure know it may lag, yeah, and may take much more time than it's taking right now. It may fill up during like some seconds. Sometimes it may even fail to load up, yeah. And this is where this comes in handy, because you never know how much this loading in fact will take. It may take a second, it may take 10 seconds, and to be safe you just use this code, and this code is waiting when the loading is complete. Yeah, regardless if it took 10 seconds, 50 seconds, it doesn't matter. This code will just wait before it will execute the next item in the instruction set. Alright, so this part is done, and I think someone wants me to craft something. So what I'm gonna do now, I will make a short break, yeah? Or probably he wants to mage because I crafted for him today. So I will have to wait a little bit as well. A little busy at the moment, we can talk later. Yeah, exactly. That's the stuff I crafted for him today. He wants to mage. Sorry about that, yeah, but I had to reply because I'm a nice crafter, and I think what I need to do actually is to remove myself from the books, yeah, because people rely on me. And here I think I need to remove that as well. Okay, done. Sorry about that. There was a short break to let your brains have a relief between these sections. Alright, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to write some simple code that is gonna be actually useful. It's gonna be the first code that's gonna do something. Okay, there is one more command that I want to introduce, but it's gonna happen later, because right now we have everything we need really to write our first software. We don't need to know the last command for today, because that last command is a little bit more confusing. And to be honest, most of the stuff you wanna do in Dofus is already can be already done with the stuff we just learned. Alright, so my idea is that I want to move all of these items, maybe not all, but up to the perk potion, to my chest. That works the same with the bank, with the trade windows, with the, I don't know, with a lot of things. Trade windows and bank is the most common thing. Especially if you have multiple characters and you need to move loot from multiple characters, this can be very annoying. I actually on purpose put every item as 2 here, because you know that the problem, yeah, that you every time need to double click, then max, and then the confirm, yeah, button, and that's what makes it really annoying. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna write a code. And as I said, really when you're writing a code, basically what you want to do is simply replicate the actions that you would do normally when doing the same task manually. So what are we doing? We're doing double click here, then we do max, then we do green button, yeah? And that's enough for us to move the item. So we're gonna implement those actions only. Also, I will add a little bit of complexity to this, and I will move a couple of items so we have ones, because when you have one, the behavior is different. You just double click it and it's moved, yeah, you see, like that. I will bring that anyway, I will not bring it back, so I will just create another one here. So we have one of this and one of this, but we have 2s of the rest of stuff. So it's nice to write a code that can handle both situations, regardless if it's 1 or 2. And we will write a code like that in a moment. Right, so what we need to do is we need to double click this cell first. So what we're gonna do, we will learn the coordinates of this cell with Ctrl A, and we're gonna tell it left and left. So that's our first action. Boom, that's the action we do. Now, if you pay close attention, it takes a little bit of time for this window to come up. You see, it's not instant, it takes a little bit of time. And with this, the execution speed of the code this fast is actually gonna make a difference. For a human being, it's not gonna make a difference, but for a machine, it is able to make a difference between breaking the code and not breaking it. So I will on purpose put this 200 milliseconds waiting here, so it's enough. Sorry, yeah, when it's highlighted, it's behaving differently. So it's enough for this little box to come up. I hope that's gonna be sufficient. If not, we will need to tweak this a little bit more. Also note that we have a 100 millisecond delay here. So even after the double click, there will be also another 100 delay here and 100 delay before next instruction. So total of 400 delay. 200 from here, 100 and 100. Yeah. Okay. So the next thing we're gonna do is we wanna select the max quantity. But as we discussed, not always we will have this prompt. Sometimes we may not have this prompt at all because we can have a single item. So in this case, what we're gonna do, if we're gonna add a condition, if this pixel is green, this one, let me just, maybe it was too quick. What I did a Ctrl A on this location, and I know that this coordinate is green. If this pixel is green, that means that we have this pop-up appeared. That this pop-up appeared, then it means that we have to select the quantity. Then we have to click on this max button. We already know the coordinates of the max button. And then we need to click on the green confirmation checkbox, which is this, left, this. And we need to put and if in the end. And that's all the code we need to write. Because if this condition is not true, if this pop-up did not appear, that means we already have moved the item. We don't need to click on anything else, so we can proceed to the next item. And this is the whole code, since it's gonna be repeating from the very beginning. That's everything we need to write. The only thing that can mess up is the timing, is if this time is a little bit too fast for the interface. But let's test. Yep, you see it's a little bit too fast. It's a little bit too fast. So what I'm gonna do, I will introduce two delays. We're gonna do wait 100 here, and this delay is gonna be actually 400 instead. Right, so we still have something not working, and what is not working, as far as I can tell for now, is that this if condition is not kicking in at all. This if condition is not kicking in at all. It's hard to say why, but let's maybe code it one more time. Let's just modify this condition. That's actually weird, but it may happen. Maybe we have messed up the pixel selection somehow. Right, let's try again. This is still not working. That's interesting. That's actually very interesting because at the moment I do not know why. I do not know why, so it's gonna be interesting to troubleshoot. Why is that so? That doesn't make much sense to me. Unless we are not covering. Sometimes you can cover the pixel with your UoPilot window, and in this case it will not work. It will not be able to detect the color of the pixel behind the window if the window is active, if it's open. But in this case that doesn't work. It's interesting because I have worked with this code in the past, and I'm honestly surprised that it's not working. Maybe it's still not enough of waiting time. So just to be sure, let's introduce a longer delay here, just to be sure that this is not the delay problem. And now it should be. No, it's not the delay problem, as we clearly see. So let's try to use some other cell as a reference cell. It's very interesting why. I'm honestly confused. Oh, now it does work. Now it does. You see? So there was something definitely wrong with the cell we have selected initially, but now it does. You see, it moves the items. Yeah, I haven't introduced an insane delay because that's actually not the best software at the moment. We are waiting for too much, so I will try to cut this again to a lower amount. And for the test, what I'll do is I'll put more items in my backpack. Right. I've on purpose put like both 1s and 2s, so let's make it run faster now. See? Yeah, now it's working as intended. There was something wrong with that pixel. It's rare to see actions like that, but yeah, sometimes that happens. Yeah, and as you can see, it works. It's putting too much stuff, and this thing is not gonna be moved because it's a non-exchangeable item, but that's already out of the scope of my presentation for this use case. Yeah, so as long as you have items you want to move, it's gonna move them. Yeah, and quite often after farming you have a plenty, and you have usually plenty on several characters. That makes it really tricky. All right, so next what I want to show is basically buying in bulk. Buying in bulk will in fact wait. Why? Because buying in bulk requires the knowledge of it doesn't require, but to make it nice, it requires the knowledge of one complicated command. So let's see, what was the examples that I was showing? Also the mage leveling, but we're not gonna do the mage leveling. That's also a little bit lame. So if I would have a stream and I would have a chat, I would probably make a vote. But let's maybe, okay, oh yeah, I have a good idea. I have a good idea. Let's make a code which is gonna be 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 2 for now. I will obviously change that, so don't count on coming to my apartment with this code. And the chests have different codes, so don't count on that either. So now when I have to enter to my apartment with my mult, I have to enter the code, and this is very annoying usually, you know that. So this is a very good use case. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I will write a code that will do the following. First, you will click on the door to enter the apartment. Then it will wait for this pop-up. Yeah, right. For this pop-up. And then it will input the code. Okay. Let me move back. So first is we need to left click this thing. So we learn the coordinates and we do the left. Boom. Alright, that part is done. Now we need to wait for this pop-up to appear, because we don't know how much time it will take for my character to run in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the while not thing. So while this is not this, yeah, we are checking for any pixel color of this window basically. We wait 100 milliseconds. We don't need to wait for a lot of time. And while. Okay, that's done. So as soon as this while is terminated, we know that this window has appeared. So next what we want to do is we want to enter the code, and our code is 01010101 4 times. I will make it as a cycle. So for a hash one, for I1 to 4 with the step of 1, we do left here, we do wait 100 just for safety, we do left here. So we're gonna do 01010101 4 times, which is exactly enough to enter our code. I'm using a cycle on purpose. But if your code is not repetitive, then you just specify 8 different locations of your digits. It can be like 7, 5, 9, 6, 4, 8, 5 or whatever, yeah? And in the end we need to click the confirm. So we're gonna wait another 100. Oh no, we don't need to wait because we have here a small delay because of this end4. So what we're gonna do is we learn the position of this confirm button and we click this coordinate and script, so it doesn't start again because it's gonna click the left button again. Let's test it out. I have no idea if it's gonna work, but I hope it's gonna. And if it doesn't, then we're gonna... Oh, of course, because our code was 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You should have stopped me, yeah? Yeah, so I'm changing the coordinates because our code is in fact 1 2 1 2 1 2, and I was putting the code 0 1 0 1 0 1. Anyway, yeah, so let's do it again. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1. Sorry about that. So due to some technical problem with my space on the disk drive, unfortunately the last around 7 minutes of the recording have cut off. So I have to re-record them again, so that's why you see a splice here. Basically it's not long, I just have one more command to show off. And I just wanted to give a small, basically like roadmap, yeah, for you who are gonna be using that. So as you have seen in the last example, the code for the code application was already working. And what I want to say is that you already see clear that here the sky is the limit, yeah. So if I want to do whatever, yeah, like I want to do my character running around in circles here, yeah, for example, yeah, it's gonna be a very silly example, but it's gonna work, yeah. And all I want to do is for it to run around here forever till the end of the day or until my light is out. I can do that, and as you see, it's gonna do that forever. So if you have any set of instructions in your head that you want to translate into a code, you can do that, and you have pretty much all the tools. No internet connection, of course. Okay, so what was the last thing I want to show you is a little bit of a more complicated command. It's still following all the simple concepts that we have learned so far, but the command syntax is a little bit more complicated. I will use hop flower because I know it's cheap, and this is just a good example. And what we want to do is we want to buy in bulk, yeah, x1 or x10. We want to buy a lot of time, a lot of them, and we want to buy until, for example, the price changes, because we don't want to buy if the price. We don't want to keep buying if the price changes. We want to see the price first because it maybe is too high for us to buy. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is actually we're gonna use a new command using find color, and what we're gonna search for is we're gonna search for a highlight color, this green color. Let me write the command first, and I will explain what this command is doing and how it looks like, yeah, in a moment. Output array. Okay, so I don't want you to be and the command itself, find color. Yeah, I don't want you to be scared by this. It's in the end gonna be really simple. I just want to take a structured approach here. So don't really pay attention to this part or to this part. So what is find color doing? You define it a box, yeah, on your screen where it's gonna search for a specific color. So what we're gonna select is we're gonna select this coordinate as a starting coordinate. There it is. And we're gonna select this coordinate as an end coordinate. So there it is. Now we have to specify a step, yeah, of how many pixels at a time it will like skip to search. Yeah, it can be searching like one pixel at a time, like 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 and so on. It can be searching like hundreds of pixels at a time. So it's gonna be like search here, then search here, then search here, then search here, and so on. For the best accuracy I use 1 and 1. This is the smallest step, so it's going to be moving only by 1 pixel at a time. And this is the way you can ensure that you don't miss anything, especially if you're looking for something which is like only 1 pixel per, in this case we're gonna look for a green color which is like everywhere here. So maybe here, even if I increase the step, it will still find it probably, but in some other scenarios that may not be enough, so you still have to use 1 once, and we're gonna use 1 once here as well. Alright, and we're gonna look for this color. Yeah, so what I did, yeah, by the way, before I move on, so I defined a box which starts here and ends here. So it's gonna be this box is where our program is gonna search for the color that we have specified, that we're gonna specify now. And now I will take a sample of the color, Ctrl A again, our best friend, and I will put the color here. Okay, so we are looking for this color in this box with the step of 1 and 1. Super simple. Trust me, nothing complicated here. Now, what is this bullshit, yeah? The important part is success. Success means is a counter of how many times we have found this color. And for us, it's really important to find just once, yeah? If we see this green at least once, because if nothing is highlighted, there's not gonna be any green. This also looks green, but this is a different green. Trust me, it's not gonna match. Hopefully. Now after I said that's gonna match, but I don't think so. Alright, so what we wanna do is we wanna check if success is greater than 0, because success is gonna count how many times in this box we found this color, how many pixels in this box have this color, and we really care if at least once we had it, then that's good enough for us. So if success is greater than 1, and I will put immediately and if, because if you don't, it's gonna be a bad coding. Then if we found this color, this means that we have something highlighted, so we need to click 2 buttons. First is this guy, it's gonna be left here, and we're gonna put a safety waiting time, and we're gonna put another left click here to buy. Yeah, so we need to click those 2 buttons to finish our purchase. What this whole code does, it looks for this color. If it doesn't find it, it's not gonna do anything. We can even start execution now, and you see it's not gonna do anything because there is no color in this box. It doesn't match. Alright. If we highlight some item, it will start buying. Also, I did not cover what is output array. Output array is basically recording the coordinates of the matching. Is the different data type, is array data type, and is if you have many matches, yeah, if you have any matches at all, it will contain the coordinates of every match. You can use that also in your code if you do something else, but in our case, we don't really care. We just care if we found at least once or not. And this variable success is already enough for us to know this. For pretty much like legit functions, you don't really need to know output array. You can do everything you want to do in Dofus to simplify your life without arrays. Trust me. So that is more than enough what I have shown you. Now let's see in action, yeah? So I'm gonna select this guy, and you see that we're buying. And you see the price has changed. Yeah, so the highlighting went away, we don't have the green anymore, so the software is not buying anymore. Now we're gonna select 12 and we're gonna buy 12. Just one was bought because there was only one for this price on sale. And as you see, yeah, what is going on? Price is changing again, so it stops. So let's buy some for 14. Ah, good example. Now the price has changed a lot. We don't want to accidentally buy for a lot. So we see that this is too much for us. Yeah, this is of course a silly example, it's just a hop floor, so it's not even a lot. But yeah, on something more expensive, you see, yeah, how it scales. We don't want to continue buying, and the code will not buy because the price has changed, and until we highlight something, it's not gonna buy. And we stop it. Yeah, if we want to stop, we just stop it here manually. Even if we just bought enough, yeah, we just stop it there and that's it. There it is. So really my final advice, sky's the limit. you do whatever you want. You code whatever you want. If you have questions, Silent Alice is my Discord name. Hit me up in Guild Compadre, and yeah, let's talk. I will answer your questions. I will help you if you're gonna be in need. I just want to show you one more time this nice example that I did with MAGING, because this is very comfy and very useful. What it basically does, here is also the code window that I was using, is taking turns, is taking agility, whatever runes, agility for sure. That uses them for 38 times. That's the number I figured, which was like more or less efficient for this particular item, but this is just scenario really related. Yeah, for 38 times it uses agility rune, then for 17 times it's gonna use wisdom rune. It's gonna change the rune and use the wisdom rune. And why is this efficient? Is because when maging you get experience by successes. Yeah, every time you succeed you get experience. If you fail you don't get anything and you just wasted the rune. So this approach, in my opinion, generates the most amount of successes. And while you use Agi runes, wisdom is in the meantime dropping, because you can have normal successes, not crit successes. That will mean that you will earn some Agi and drop some wisdom, and that will still be a success, so you get XP. And then you change to wisdom, so while wisdom is growing, Agi is dropping. Yeah, so you still get successes. That's much better than spamming just one rune type for an hour. Yeah, that will give you more experience and consume less runes. So that's pretty much what the code is doing, and you'll see a level up in a moment here. That's something I like. There it is, right? So folks, sky's the limit. Do what you like. If you have questions, hit me up. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all I wanted to explain. So good luck with that. Give it a try. I'm pretty sure once you get a little bit comfortable with it, you will like it a lot. And good luck scripting. Cheers.